I feel a lot more confident in who I am. I feel like I lost 15 pounds, which was great. And I just feel like when I go out into the world, I carry myself very differently.
All right, guys, I want to introduce you to Rebecca. I'm so excited to have you guys hear Rebecca's story for not only where she is now, but pretty much what she's overcoming. She had a pretty bad injury that's like literally still gives me the heebie-jeebies to just think about that. But I'm super stoked for you guys to hear. So really quick, Rebecca, give us a little bit of your background, kids and all that good stuff.
Okay, my name is Rebecca and I live in Copley, Ohio. And I have three kids. They range from 6 to 12. Right now I work for the United States Tennis Association, so I do not teach tennis anymore, but I was a tennis instructor and I played college D1 tennis at the University of Dayton.
Boom. Which we'll get into you playing tennis recently. No, so can you give us a quick kind of snapshot of where were you and what made you really give us a call at Strong Mom?
So I identified a long time ago when I decided to stay home with my kids and my daughter 9 years ago when I decided to do that working out was really important for me. So I have always worked out. But for the last 3 years or so, I knew that I wanted to lose weight and I knew that my nutrition wasn't on par. And I'm a big reader. So I was reading everything. I was reading Atomic Habits. I was reading all these things, but I didn't know how. Nothing was working for me, like clicking on how to put it all together. And I was turning 40 and realized that I just needed somebody to help me put it together because I was in the same spot I was 3 years before. So I'm a Instagram stalker of track and Strong Mom. So I just was like, you know what, let's just find out about it. Never hurts to find out. And I thought what was going to be a weight loss program for me and get my nutrition back on actually was a lot more for me and just mentally helped me get into a whole space of being very happy going into my 40th birthday.
Yeah, I remember the post that you wrote about going into your 40th birthday and not being in the same place. And this actually reminds me, I don't know if you saw the video I did in the Facebook group, but I talked about there's a difference between knowledge and application. And I think oftentimes as moms, and if you're watching and listening, moms are really good at acquiring a lot of information. I think we have to, right? When it comes to okay, how we all of a sudden have a baby, they don't come with a manual. It's like, how are we going to keep this baby alive and loved and nurtured? And I think we're really good at acquiring a lot of information. But sometimes when it comes to the application, and again, I mean, I've had my own coaches. That's why Strong Mom came about. It's not necessarily the knowledge, because we could have all the knowledge in the world. Atomic Habits is one of my favorite books, but if we can't put it into action, we don't really get anywhere.
Right. And well, for me, Atomic Habits, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I didn't know what habits I should start.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, great. I know all of these things and I know that habits are important and I know how to make them, but what are the habits that I need to actually be successful moving forward?
No, I love that. All right. So wait, tell everybody how long you've been with us?
Oh, I started in June, middle of June, maybe. So what is that? 6 months now? About 6 months. Yeah.
And how do you feel now compared to when you came in?
I feel a lot more confident in who I am. I feel like I lost 15 pounds, which was great. And I just feel like when I go out into the world, I carry myself very differently, which is funny because it's something that, with the pandemic and everything, I didn't see people I was working with on a regular basis. And I went on a trip to Cleveland to work a tournament. And I was with somebody that I hadn't seen in months. And that was the first thing that they said about me. You seem very different. You're carrying yourself different. And it's funny because I've known him for a very long time. And he actually said, you seem like you were 10 years ago when we first met, before kids and all of that kind of stuff. So I thought that was a good sign that I made a good choice.
Wow. I have the whole, like, when you get those tinglies and it starts like all over, this is why I love talking and hearing. That's something I haven't heard. I get a lot of updates from Jenna, but I haven't heard that one. And that makes me, I mean, at the end of the day, it's getting back to who we are. And it's so easy to get lost. And because we are moms, and yes, we are going to make sure that everyone else's needs are taken care of. But my goal with Strong Mom is to just put moms on the priority list in addition to their kids, in addition to their families, not instead of. Because at the end of the day, I did a podcast not long ago and I actually forgot that I had said this quote, and then it was just reposted, but it was something along the lines of, I think the greatest gift we can give our kids is showing them and being a happy, healthy mom for them. And if I don't know, it just makes me super excited. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, yeah, showing them that we have interests outside of being like, they can identify things that we like to do because we make them a priority for ourselves.
No, for sure. All right. I got one more. I got a couple more questions, but so walk us through. And one of the reasons why I was really excited to talk to you is because you currently just went through a pretty brutal injury. And I told you before I pressed record, or before we're starting this, that I looked at your post in the Facebook group with your big boot on, and you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm doing something. And that honestly got me off my butt for that day. I'd already gave my workout a wash. I'm like, it's okay. As we teach everybody, missing one workout isn't the downfall, right? I'm like, I'll make it up tomorrow. I opened Facebook. I saw your post and I just was like, totally inspired, went and got a great workout in. So, can you explain and just kind of give everybody a good idea of what happened and how you're coping with this injury?
Yeah. So I decided to go back and play tennis, which is really funny because I hadn't really been playing a lot. And I remember in my call with Dave, because you were training for the Olympics, so I didn't get to chat with you. But with Dave, he said, well, why aren't you playing tennis? We're going to get you back out on the tennis court. So I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, let's go. I'm feeling good. Let's get out there. So I went to a cardio tennis class, and it wasn't even like a good story. I wasn't like diving for the ball and doing something magical. My partner was hitting and I was moving towards the middle like a good doubles partner does to cover the middle. And I took a step and my Achilles popped. I heard it. I felt it. So I just laid down on the ground, and I am now almost 5 weeks out from surgery because it was a total tear. So I had to have surgery on it. And the first 2 weeks was pretty rough, but now I'm getting to the point where I will be able to, I'm walking fully in the boot, not just like scooting along in it with crutches. I can walk fully in my boots, and I get to start PT in a couple weeks. And it's been really humbling because I never had a big injury in college or in my entire career. Like, this was it. And in all honesty, if it wasn't for Strong Mom, I don't know mentally how I would stay upbeat through this. It was funny because it happened and I'm like, oh, this is like a huge cost. I'm like, maybe I should I've already gone through the 16 weeks. Maybe I should just stop. And, I can't really work out. That was one of the reasons I continued on, was to go to track and to be, Jenna's workouts. And my husband was like, absolutely not. He's like, that program has helped you so much. Like, it is not even a question. Like, they're going to help you get through this. Like, just stay with it. And the podcast and everything have helped a ton. But the biggest for me actually was I was super nervous about gaining weight because I wasn't active and losing a lot of muscle. So the nutrition that I learned through the program, and like I've kind of through the 16 weeks, you learn all the different ways that work for you. And for me, it's intuitive eating, like just kind of making sure every day, like what I'm kind of staying on top of myself. And if it wasn't for that, I would just be like a snacker all day. And at least now I'm like a snacker, but with the cut up vegetables that I already have and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And just a side note for everyone watching, you're starting to get out there and doing what you can. That was like the thing that hit me. And I know I said this before we press record. a lot of times when things happen, we focus on the things we can't do. And it's like, well, I can't, and a leg is a pretty important part, right? Like that's a huge chunk of your movement. Having a massive injury, like a serious injury on your leg. But the coolest part and what I wanted moms to see is like, shit's going to happen. It is, stuff's going to go on and we're going to get these little and big nicks. And there's going to be moments in time where it's really easy to focus on what we can't do. But every time I see your posts, it literally crosses my mind. This is what you can do. And you're showing everybody, yeah, something came up and this is what I can do. I don't know if that's how you feel, but that's how it comes across. That's how I always take your post, is like to see somebody who has a pretty significant injury still get out there and say, okay, well, I can't do that, but what can I do is that's what got me off my butt to go get my workout in.
Well, and I decided that I wanted to get Michelle Obama's arms. So I was like, well, I can lift up her body. When she gave me that clearance, the doctor, I was like, maybe I'll get Michelle's arms now.
Totally. So yeah, yes. For those that don't know, like your on the side, like your little side plank, all the little things you can do. Right. And again, I'll say this for everyone watching, what we teach at Strong Mom anyways is, as long as you eat, right? Like you're going to get and maintain your body composition through nutrition. A lot of people think that I'm just going to work out and I can eat whatever I want. Like we hear that a lot. Well, I work out, so I don't really worry about what I eat. Or even worse, because I work out, I allow myself all these things. And we don't realize that that's actually working against us if we do have a weight loss goal. And so we can maintain our body composition. And then working out is for our health, our body health, our heart health, our mental health, right? It's the right. Endorphins and the hormones and all the things that go along with that. But there is this misconception that if you can't work out, even if you are like you and have worked out for a really long time, you can still maintain and be in a really good spot. I think it's like we talk about it on our group calls where we say, if you wake up one morning and you have a flat tire, there's no need to go stab 3 other good tires, but it's so easy for us to say, well, I can't work out. I'm screwed now. So I'm just going to throw in the towel. So I think that's for me. I wanted people who are watching this to know that you have a lot going on, you have a significant injury, and yet you're still, although I'm sure your days, I'm not saying don't have their challenges, but you still show up in a way that is not stabbing the other 3 tires because you have a bad tire, if that makes sense.
Well, and I think that one of the big takeaways for me was, because I was that person, like, oh, well, I ran 7 miles today. I'm not going to worry about what I eat. I can get away with that glass of wine because I ran today. And that was the biggest takeaway, was the rest days are important. And I needed them for my body. And I could still maintain what I wanted to because of my nutrition skills that I had.
Yep. What's crazy? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say what's crazy is they've actually done studies on this. Fitness trackers, and I wear a Whoop. It doesn't, I know it does say calories. Fitness trackers actually work against people. Did you know that? Because they miscalculate what we burn. So it's like, hey, I'm going to go for that run. So therefore I'm going to eat the pizza and then have some wine. A lot of times the studies that they've done, it's up to 90% off on what actual caloric burn is. So what people will do is they'll run or work out, they'll look and they'll go, oh, I just burned 724 calories. So then they'll go eat 724 calories worth of food, but really they only burned 320.
Right.
And so it's crazy because not only do we have that feeling of like, oh, I'm just going to burn it off, I'm just going to work it out, but we also have technology coming in as well, giving us false information, which has in turn created an issue. We have so many people come in that say, oh, well, I'm doing my macros, but I'm also accounting my workout. And we're like, oh,
yeah. Taking it off of MyFitnessPal. Yes.
Right. And it's like, and they're like, I don't get it. I'm just not losing weight. And we're like, well, those are very inaccurate, but, I have one question. Just going to throw this out here. What's one thing you're most proud of? And it could be something you already said. But I'm just curious, what's something over the last 6 months, that you're, or maybe not most proud of, but something that you're proud of yourself, because the moms don't give ourselves credit, right? It's like, oh, I really didn't do all that much. So what is there something that you are proud of? I can list a million things I'm proud of you from your posts, but I'm curious about what you're proud of.
I feel like I'm proud of being in control again, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the things that I didn't take into account when I signed up for Strong Mom was all of the other stuff that was going to help me, like the scheduling and the morning routine and the evening routine, and really like focusing on things that were important that helped me relax at the end of the day, because the next morning I wasn't waking up to a sink full of dishes or whatever it might be. And so I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I'm in control of how I choose to behave throughout the day. I'm in control of what my house looks like. I'm in control of what my work schedule looks like, just everything in general, how the kids are, taken care of, which is one thing that I think has been super helpful through this, because I had a routine, so they were already in their routine. So it was just a matter of inserting Ray into there for a couple weeks so that he could take over for me to help with all the lunches and all that kind of stuff. They already knew what to do, which has been very helpful for him. But I think just having the control of my emotions and getting through the day and not feeling exhausted at the end of every day, and also putting myself first and being like, nope, I am a 10 o'clock at night person. I need to be in bed at 10 o'clock if anybody wants to be around me tomorrow. And I think that like holding myself to that and going through all of those steps to make me a better person each day has been helpful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I was just curious. Last thing, and I know you have a call, so I will wrap this up. If someone's on the fence and they're watching this and they're curious, they've got one foot in, but they're also hesitant about Strong Mom, what would you say to someone that's on the fence?
I actually had this conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago. It is so much more than getting your body back. It is so much more than learning how to eat and working out again. It is a program that it gives you your whole self back, and it just gives you an opportunity to shine as a person, not just as a mom. And I think that is the most important part of the program that I didn't even take into account when I was signing up for it. I was like, oh, I'll get some new workouts and I'll learn how to eat better. And it gave me so much more than that.